Hello students, how are you? I wish you are fine and doing well. Again, we are back to online classes. I hope you'll enjoy and have good learning together. Today we have a new lesson about modals. We are going to talk about the use of modals for permission and obligation. Let's get started. Look at these examples to see how can, can't, must, mustn't, have to, and don't have to are used. For example, you can put your shoes and coat over there. Can. Now let's try can't. You can't leave your bike there. Cannot or can't. Next, must. I must call the electrician and get the light fixed. Next, you mustn't worry about me. I will be fine. Have to. You have to have a license to drive a car. And don't have to. You don't have to have a license to cycle on the roads. Okay? So let's go on in more details. Grammar explanation. We often use verbs with modal meanings to talk about permission and obligation. First, permission. So we use can to ask and to give permission. For example, can I sit here? You can use my car if you like. Can I make a suggestion? Could. We also use could to ask for permission, but not to give it, only to ask for permission. For example, could I ask you something? Could I interrupt? So if you are doing something, I can ask, could I interrupt to stop you to ask you for something? Could I borrow your pen for a moment, please? So look, could is more formal and polite than can. Now let's move to talk about may. May is the most formal way to ask for and give permission. For example, may I see your passport, please? Customers may request a refund within a period of 30 days. Refund to take your money back, okay? So if you buy something, if you bought something in the past, last month, and you want to give it back, you don't like it, you didn't like it, so you get the refund, you give them the the item that you bought and you will get the refund. So what they say, customers may request a refund within a period of 30 days. May. Now, these pages may be photocopied for classroom use. Okay, so we use may. Now, after we finish the permission, let's talk about prohibition. Something that is prohibited. It's not allowed. So we use can't and mustn't to show that something is prohibited. Prohibited. It's not allowed. You can't do it. So we say can't. We use can't to talk about something that is against the rules. Against the rules. Particularly when we didn't make the rules. For example, what does this sign say? Oh, we can't park here. we can't park here. You can't take photos in the museum. You can't use your phone at classes. They are really strict about it. Okay? So, sorry, we can't sell knives to under 18 years, under 80s. We can't sell cigarettes to under 20 years old people. Okay? Now, must not or mustn't. The full form must not, and the short one mustn't. We use mustn't or must not to talk about what is not permitted. It's the common on public signs and notices, informing people of rules and laws. Visitors must not park in the staff car park. Baggage must not be left unattended. You should take care of your baggage. Guests mustn't make noise after 10 p.m. So again, we can say must not or we can say mustn't. We use mustn't particularly when the prohibition comes from the speaker. So the speaker gives you the prohibition, what is not permitted. For example, parent to child, you mustn't say things like that to your sister. You mustn't say impolite words or bad words to your sister. Teacher to student, you mustn't be late to class. Another example, I mustn't let that happen again. Now, after we have finished talking about the permission and the prohibition, let's now move to talk about the obligation. We use have to and must to express obligation. There is a slight difference between the way we use them. Have to. Have to shows us the obligation comes from outside the speaker. It's not from the speaker himself or herself. For example, we have to wear a uniform when we are working in reception. Students to teacher, when do we have to hand in our homework? Another example, Amy has to work tomorrow, so she can't come. Okay? We sometimes call this external obligation. So the obligation comes from outside the speaker. Now, must. Must expresses a strong obligation or necessity. It often shows us the obligation that comes from the speaker or the authority that wrote the sentence. For example, I must for my dad. It's his birthday today. Teacher to student, you must hand in your homework on Tuesday or you will lose 10% of your mark. Sign on a plane. Seat belt must be worn by all passengers. So all of the passengers must wear their seat belts. Note that we don't use must to express obligation in the past. We use have to instead. For example, I have to pay 85 US dollar to renew my passport last week. Now, no obligation. We use don't have to show that there is no obligation. We can do something if you want to, but it's not compulsory. You don't have to wear a necktie in our office, but some people like to dress more formally. Another example, you don't have to go to the bank to do a transfer. You can do it online. And you don't have to come with me. Honestly, I'll be fine. Okay? That is our lesson for today. I hope you enjoyed and see you next time. Take care, stay in, don't go out. Okay, bye bye.